What is up, you guys? Coming at you again with another video. Today we're going to be going over some paranormal stories. Let's not waste any more time and get right into it. This first one's titled, I Work at a Haunted Nursing Home, posted by Mobile District 9784. I just recently got a job during night shift at a retirement center close to my house. One of the first things someone told me was that the new hall was haunted. For clarification, about 2 years ago, there was this guy living at the nursing home that liked to help around the place a lot. And one day he asked a worker if he could borrow the water hose the day they were spraying off the patios, and the worker agreed since the guy usually sprayed off the patio near his room. Well, an hour went by and the worker had gone about their duties. Not even thinking about the request until an hour later, the boss noted the man hadn't returned the hose yet, so they went out to find him. They found him hanging from a tree in the backyard. That got dark really fucking quick. That's sad. If you have any grandparents in a retirement home or anything like that, please visit them. And if you don't have grandparents, if you have parents, please visit them. I don't see how people can just leave their family members in places like that and not visit them. They might be going through some stuff and they just don't talk about it. Or, I mean, even just visiting them makes a difference. So that's my thing. I would never put my parents or my grandparents in a home, but that's just what I believe. If you have any family in retirement homes, visit them, please, because that's really sad. But since his death, they swear up and down he haunts the hall. Every worker and resident swears they've seen him, even the ones who don't believe in the paranormal. When people go out like that in sad ways, or if they have these emotions bottled up, they're gonna manifest as a ghost. They're gonna have a lot of things that aren't resolved, and they're gonna stick around till they are, or until they get over it, you know, and that sucks. Like, that's really sad, honestly. But a few days ago, on my first night working there, I was cleaning the windows around midnight on the hall the man used to live on, when I looked up and I saw the reflection of a man standing behind me, watching me. I turned around and no one was there. Everyone was asleep, the residents, or not near the hall, my coworkers. Fast forward to a few hours ago, me and a coworker were taking our break around 3 a.m. Damn, that's late as fuck. I couldn't do night shifts. I don't know how people do night shifts. The both of us talking in the parking lot when she looked away from the road for half a second, turned back to the road and completely froze, and gestured for me to come look. Standing in the middle of the road was a tall black figure, taller than even me, and I'm 6'2". Okay, buddy, you just had to throw it in there that you're 6'2". Okay, we get it. You're tall. You're tall. I'd wager it was about a head taller than me. It was just standing in the middle of the road. Menacingly. It was just standing in the middle of the road. We couldn't tell if it was staring at us or if it was staring down the road. We both stared at the figure for a good minute or two when it started walking down the road. I followed it thinking it might be one of the residents trying to leave in the middle of the night. But when I got to the road, it was gone. It wasn't walking down the road. It wasn't walking down the other road connected to it. And it didn't go in a house as I would have heard the door open and shut. And it wasn't fast or close enough to reach the end of the road in the 3 seconds it took me to go through the parking lot to the road. What freaked us both out was when talking about it, we realized two things. A, it didn't stand like you'd expect a human to stand. It was all stiff and everything, and it just seemed to be wrong in a way I couldn't figure out. B, we both realized later we didn't see any arms on it. We didn't see any arms where it was standing still, and we didn't see any arms when it walked off. And that's the end of the story. There's not really much else to it. I looked in the comments to see if maybe the OP had like elaborated on the story, if there was any other update, but nothing's happened so far. I don't really think that's the old man outside. Maybe the reflection is the old man, but the dark figure out on the road, I'm more than sure that's not the old man. The reflection, that might be the old man, but who knows. So let's move on to the next story. This next one's called When I Was a Kid I Had the Scariest Experience of My Life, posted by Puzzlehead Gas 5293. When I was a kid, my parents always had to work late, so me and my brother were often alone for some time. But this time my mom wasn't working, she was just buying some groceries. Don't ask me why, but me and my brother decided to go look for her since the store was only around 500 meters away or so. It sounds like a European describing the story. 500 meters is just like down the street or something, or across the street. It's like 1,600 feet from what I looked up. So we lived in an apartment, so we took the elevator to go down to the lobby. I told my little brother to wait for me upstairs until I came back with my mom, and he agreed. I got in and I pressed the lobby button. The elevator went down to the lobby, and I just saw my brother standing there with an orange balloon. I looked at him confused. Then I guess my real brother comes running down the stairs, saying that he saw a fake me upstairs. We ran to the front office to be around people because we thought it would be safe there. They let us play with some toys there and let us stay until my mom came back. When she came back, we didn't say a word about what happened and made up a lie to keep us out of trouble. Truly something that makes me shake to this day. Now this story's a little bit shorter, but it hits home. I don't know why, because he describes being the older brother and a little brother, and for the longest time it was literally just me and my brother that's the middle one now. It sounds like something I would have experienced, like with the whole my parents work late, because my parents, when I was a kid, at some point they both worked night shift to make extra money, I guess. And I remember a couple times being awake in the middle of the night, and it'd be like 2 a.m, and my parents aren't home, but me and my brother are sleeping, or supposed to be sleeping. I'd be awake and I'd be wandering the house because I just had so much anxiety and fear of just being alone. It was just me and my brother, and it wasn't like, oh, you guys are 10 years old, 12 years old. Like, no, we were like 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, like kindergarten, first grade, second grade aged. And it was scary as shit. So I can see myself in a situation like this. And it, like I said, it hits close to home, especially when it's that childhood scary story, horror story that you have, because you can't explain it. And it's almost like, it almost feels like a fever dream. Did it really happen? Did it happen in a dream? Did I see it in a movie? And you can't explain it. And I love stories like that because it just leaves it up in the air of, is it for real? Is it some, like, was it a wild imagination? But then you have the little brother come down saying he saw you up there when you already went down. I don't know, man. I love stories like that. I get goosebumps. Like, I'm getting goosebumps from it right now because it's just so, it's scary, you know, experiencing shit like that as a kid. And then your parents aren't around. That shit's even worse, man. I love this story. Even though it was really, really short, it hits close to home for me, you know? This next one's titled, My Dad May Have Seen a Mimic. Hello, everyone. So a little backstory. My friend went to see Robert the Doll. If you don't know about Robert the Doll, you need to go look into that right now. It's actually really cool. It's really interesting. It's a really cool story. Something to get into. There's like, I've seen like hour-long videos talking about Robert the Doll. It's like a possessed doll. And there's a long story behind it. Sorry for the tangent, but where were we? My friend went to see Robert the Doll and got me a pin since I recently started collecting pins. The pin is Robert's face. And the next morning after he gave it to me, my dad came into the room and told me last night he got up around 3 a.m, which is normal for him. He was letting our cat outside. I usually also hear her meowing at 3 a.m. to go outside. And the front door faces a hallway, and on the left side is my room, and on the right side is the door to the bathroom. And he said that when he turned around after letting the cat out, that he saw me in the hallway and I was just staring at him. And he was staring at me and asked if I was okay, and I just kept staring at him, not saying a word. When I heard that, I was like, okay, was it my sister? Because me and my sister look a lot alike, and he confuses us every now and again. And he was like, no, I checked on your sister, and then I went to check on you and you were asleep, so I don't know what's going on. But over the last few nights, I've been seeing things out of the corner of my eyes in the hallway, which I'm basically alone on this side of the house. Everyone is on the other side. I don't know if I just freaked myself out or if this is a real thing. I don't know why I decided to post this, but my friends don't believe me, so I've come to strangers. Like I said earlier, Robert the Doll is a really crazy case. I don't know where he's at right now, but I remember he was in like some sort of museum. But anytime that anyone has interacted with him, there's just crazy activity. Apparently, he would, like, they had him by a window or some shit, and people would look at him, and anytime people would look at him, like, it would just bring them bad luck. So this might have to do something with the doll. Even just like a pin with his face on it is causing some sort of paranormal activity in someone's house. Is just crazy. But like I said, if you don't know about Robert the Doll, look into it. It's a super interesting story. Let's move on to the next one. This next was titled Creepy Hotel Experience That I Want to Get Off My Chest. When I was, I think, 10 or 11, my mom... Oh, we got a British person. Hold on, let me restart this. I can't even do a British accent. I'm sorry. When I was 10 or 11, I'm just going to say mom. I'm not going to say mom. I'm sorry. Mom took me, my grandmother, and my 2 cousins on a trip. Drove to our hotel for the night. It's a little secluded place up in the mountains. Great views. We're getting settled in, but my mom finds a glass with lipstick on the rim and blood on the bed sheets. Obviously, a lady had been staying here in the hotel had done a poor job at cleaning up. My mom goes to ask for a new room. The receptionist says there aren't any free rooms and tries to blame the bloody sheets on me, which I haven't even touched the bed or even got on my first period yet. It's late and we're all tired. My mom is getting pretty angry and demands to speak to the manager. The manager comes out and says the same thing. No room for all of us. They're booked for the night, etc. My mom insists. Finally, they say they'll double check. And then surprise, surprise, they have a room. It's the exact same room, only a few floors higher. We go to the new room. I open one of the windows to take a look outside and find a line of uncooked rice strewn across the windowsill. What the fuck? And then my grandma explains it's for warding off evil spirits. I've never heard of that. I've always heard they use salt. I've never heard of rice. That must be a European thing because I've never heard of that. Good old-fashioned superstitious nonsense. We laugh it off and go to bed. Grandmother gets one room, Boy cousin sleeps on the couch. Me, my mom, and my baby cousins share the master bedroom. We all get in the bed and my mom turns off the light. Baby cousin is immediately sleeping. Then a knocking sound starts up. Not very loud, but enough to be annoying when you're trying to get some sleep. It's just the blinds bumping against the windowsill. My mom gets up to check if the windows close properly. Yup, closed tight. Also, there's grains of rice on the windowsill too. No ventilation ducts overhead or on the floor, but the blinds are still moving somehow. She turns on the light to get a better look. Blinds immediately stop moving. Maybe a weird ventilation system that only turns on when the lights are off? She has another look around and she doesn't find anything. Back in the bed, lights off. The noise starts up again. It's louder this time. We can see the blinds knocking back and forth against the window. My mom turns the lights on. Again, it stops. She gets up once more to check the windows, the walls, and the door. Still nothing. No breeze, no sound of a wind blowing in from a gap somewhere. At this point, I'm getting really scared because something just feels really off, and my mom feels it too. She's Christian, so she starts hardcore praying, and I'm cowering under the blankets. Eventually, the noises stop. I thought I was too terrified to fall asleep, but we managed to get through the night without any other incidents, check out of the hotel the next morning, and go home. Later, my mom found out that someone had committed suicide at the hotel by jumping out a window a year or so ago. Was it the room we stayed in? News articles didn't mention it. Guess we'll never know. Still don't think I actually believe in ghosts, but this memory sure was spooky. It could be a dead person. There's a lot of hotels, especially in America, where people have gotten murdered or committed suicide, or there's just traumatic things going on in that place, and the ghosts go wherever, dude. They're anchored to that one spot, so I wouldn't be surprised if the person that did kill themselves was showing up in that room. This next one's titled, I made friends with the shop ghost at my old job. I think it followed me home. I worked at a vape shop for like 2 years, and got laid off when it closed about a year ago. It was a pretty low traffic place, hence the closure, so most of my time was spent on the couch watching reality TV and crocheting. That sounds like a chill ass job. I've only been in a vape shop a couple of times. I don't vape. I used to kind of vape on and off, but I stopped that a long time ago. And anytime I walked in, they were like the chillest fucking people there. It's crazy having a job like that. You just do nothing all fucking day. On occasion, the lights would flicker, the doorbell would ring, or the TV would glitch. I assumed it was faulty electronics and shrugged it off. Over time, however, I would get the feeling that someone was sitting next to me or just generally hanging out. I grew to enjoy the company, despite acknowledging that it could have been my subconscious breaking up the solitude. When the shop closed, my boss sent me home with the lounge couches. I didn't think much of it, and also didn't say goodbye to my friend. I got laid off a month before my wedding, so honestly, it didn't cross my mind due to the stress. Since then, I've been seeing shadows and figures in my peripheral. I'm no stranger to mild hallucinations, but these would bring feelings of nostalgia and melancholy with them. Earlier today, I was crocheting and watching reality TV again. I felt like I was being watched even though my husband and cat, my only roommates, were next to me. Every minute or two, I would see what appeared to be a head and a tip of a shoe poking around the doorframe. When I hallucinate, it's usually a one-time thing and not usually visual. On top of that, my cat seemed to notice it as well. I suddenly remember my buddy from the shop and how long it had been since we last hung out. I spoke to it just in case it was more than psychological. I said, hey, if you're not the shop ghost, get out of my house. If you are the shop ghost, you can stay, but stop being a fucking creep and join me. I felt silly doing it, but the familiar sense of someone sitting next to me came back and the visual stopped. I'm not sure if I got my friend back or if I had one in the first place. I don't mind a chill, ghostly roommate, but I do mind delusions and psychosis. I'm 50-50 on what I believe, so I go to therapy and do weekly cleanses to cover all bases, lol. While I was reading this, I kind of developed a small hypothesis of what could have been going on. I think what may have happened was the shop owner, the vape shop owner, when they were furnishing the shop, they probably went to a Goodwill or even like Facebook Market or Craigslist and got the couch for cheap, obviously. You don't know where that couch comes from, you know? It could have been someone's like dead grandma, grandpa, whoever, dead relative, dead friend, and they had to get rid of all the furniture. Whoever died got stuck to that furniture and it got passed down to that guy, and he didn't know what happened prior to buying the couch. And then once he took it to the shop, it started manifesting in the shop. Since I guess the employee was pretty cool with them hanging out, the ghost felt welcomed and it just started manifesting itself more. Since they took the couch home, it just followed them home. I don't think it latched onto them. It just kind of latched onto the couch and started going wherever the couch went, or appearing wherever the couch went. Also, one thing about this is that's why I don't go to haunted houses or any places that are reportedly haunted, because I feel like if I go, I'm gonna bring something back with me. That is the only thing stopping me from going on these like little paranormal trips to investigate and shit like that. I really want to, but I just get so fucking scared of bringing something back with me that I have to deal with, and I've been through that once, and I don't feel like doing it again, especially in my permanent home. An apartment's a little different because you could just fucking leave when your lease is over if you're able, or when if you're able to manage to break it, you can leave. But when you have a house through the bank, you gotta mortgage that shit, and it's a long-term thing. I don't want to bring anything back to my house. That is the only reason I don't fucking go ghost hunting or anything like that. This next one's titled, What Happened During a Paranormal TV Shoot That Never Aired. This sounds really fucking cool. I'm kind of curious as to what's going to happen in this one. This is something that happened back when I was working as a production assistant on a paranormal TV show. It happened during the filming of one of the paranormal specials that the show used to do on location. The concept was simple. A famous psychic would visit ordinary people's homes and perform exorcisms on the spirits said to haunt them. Just to be clear, I'm not going to reveal who the psychic was, and I appreciate it if no one tries to guess or speculate. I have absolutely no intention of criticizing or slandering them. There was a reporter, the psychic, a cameraman, and a few crew members like me, but none of us, including myself, had any sort of spiritual sensitivity. The house we visited was in an old town somewhere in Massachusetts, if I remember correctly. My memory is a bit hazy, so I'm sorry if I got that wrong. It was a large, old house, and the request had come from the wife who lived there. Ever since they bought the house, she said strange things had been happening constantly inside, and bad luck had been plaguing their lives. The wife had a very strong spiritual sensitivity. She said a young boy's ghost was wandering all throughout the house. Toys would start moving on their own, even when no one was nearby. They would hear crying coming from the bathroom, and the sound of footsteps running rapidly across the second floor day or night. She also said there had been incidents and spiritual disturbances happening frequently. Hearing all this, the psychic began walking through the house and performing the exorcism. All the spirits dwelling in this house have been cleansed. You may now return to your normal life. You'll no longer be troubled by evil spirits. And with that, the psychic's part was done, and the shoot wrapped up without any issues. The reporter and the psychic headed back to the production van, and the rest of the crew were cleaning up, and I was sitting alone in the dining kitchen. I happened to glance over and saw the wife standing in the corner of the kitchen, head down, wearing a deeply troubled expression. Something about it bothered me, so I asked, "Is everything alright?" She suddenly looked up at me and asked, with a serious, almost angry gaze, "Can that psychic really see spirits?" I stammered, Well, they're quite famous in the field." Then she said, "And why didn't they notice the child's spirit has been clinging to my leg ever since that person stepped into the house?" I looked down at her feet, but I couldn't see anything. Still, the thought crossed my mind. What if something was clinging to her leg staring up at me from down there? Just imagining that sent a chill down my spine. Needless to say, the episode was scrapped and never aired. Damn, they got called the fuck out. Whoever that psychic was, they're a load of baloney. They're a load of shit. Whatever you want to say. No, I'm just kidding. But that's crazy. I was thinking the story was gonna go in a different direction, honestly, with the whole psychic and it's a TV show. I thought it was gonna go into a crazy direction, but they just got called out. Well, not the psychic, but that crew member got put on the spot, and they're getting questioned for even working with him. But I mean, it's like you don't really get to pick and choose who you're working with in any field sometimes. So it's not really their fault they got paired up having to deal with the production with the psychic. The story also highlights a big problem in the paranormal community, and the whole science behind it is a lot of people are full of shit or just straight up lie. Like Ed and Lorraine Warren, they've been questioned ever since they started investigating paranormal activity and like demonology and all that, and to this day they're still questioned, even though they're not here, they're dead now. A lot of people think they were just hacks, and I mean, I like the Conjuring movies and shit, they're really cool, and some of their cases are really interesting, but they apparently have like thousands of photos of the incidents that they went to investigate, and they just don't release them. But they do have that museum. I'm not sure, I think it's at their house, like in their actual house. I'm not sure exactly where, but they do have that museum full of paranormal artifacts and memorabilia and all sorts of stuff. And you can go see that, but there's so much shit we want to see that they claim happened, and it's never going to come out. Maybe it will, I don't know. But it is a big problem in the paranormal community where people claim so much stuff and they have nothing to show for it. It's just like this with the psychic. This lady could actually see some shit, and the psychic's claiming, "Oh, I can see something, and I'm gonna banish these spirits," and da-da-da. They're not even doing anything, so it's a big problem, and I wish it would go away, but it's not going to. People do it for fame. They do it for monetary gain, and it sucks, but what can you do about it? And that's the end of the video. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you have your own story, leave it in the comments below. I want to compile a whole bunch of comments and make a video out of that. That'd be great. But I'll catch you guys in the next one.